Hey guys, Orem here. Today I have a great replay of the Jagdpanzer 38T, aka the Hetzer. But first I want to give you guys a little bit of background on the tank. By 1943, it was obvious to the Germans that their tank production could not keep pace with the battlefield losses. One of their efforts to expedite weapons production was the conversion of old, outdated tank chassis into tank destroyers or Jagdpanzers. Early efforts demonstrated the rushed and sometimes rough mating of small, old tank but large, powerful guns. The Martyr series especially appeared cumbersome and top-heavy. The most successful conversion was the Jagdpanzer 38T, commonly referred to as the Hetzer. When France and Great Britain sacrificed Czechoslovakia to the Nazis to gain Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain's quote-unquote peace in our time, the Germans were more than happy to get their hands on the famous Czech arms industry and its products. The VZ-38 was not in service with the Czech army yet, but the Germans eagerly adopted all existing models for themselves as the Panzerkampfwagen 38T, with the T designating the Czech origin of the vehicle. The Germans used the Panzerkampfwagen 38T to equip the 7th and 8th Panzer Divisions in the invasion of Poland in 1939 and France in May 1940. The 38T, with various upgrades, remained in the frontline service with the Wehrmacht as light tanks until 1942. When new Soviet armored vehicles such as the T-34 medium and the KV series of heavy tanks outclassed it. However, the chassis and the powertrain of the 38T were still quite viable. These became the basis for a variety of German tracked vehicles, including self-propelled artillery, tank destroyers, assault guns, and reconnaissance vehicles. The most successful of these was the Jagdpanzer 38T Hetzer. The term Hetzer, or Bader, as it loosely translates to, was never the official name, but rather a misunderstanding between German army officials and Czech manufacturers. The name stuck unofficially. Relatively lightweight at 16 tons, the Hetzer had good cross-country performance, and although sluggish because of the low top speed, it could be quite nimble with the engine revved up to high RPMs. It also featured a pivot steer, with one track going forward while the other one reversed, enabling it to turn around stationary. The new hull was designed with armor protection and not crew comfort in mind. The frontal armor was made of 60mm of rolled steel plates, interlocked and welded, with the top sloped at 60 degrees and the lower plate sloped at 40 degrees. The side and rear armor was of a lower quality steel alloy and only 20mm thick. The top plate sloped at 40 degrees and the lower hull and rear sloped at 15 degrees. Top armor was only 8mm thick and the bottom plate 10mm. The Hetzer was a low, compact armored vehicle. The hull, 15 feet 9 inches long and just over 8 feet wide, was less than 7 feet tall. The main armament was a reliable and powerful 75mm L48 Pak 39, with a secondary armament of a top-mounted 7.92mm machine gun. Small, low, and easy to hide, fairly nimble, and with a powerful gun, the Hetzer made an excellent tank destroyer. As with many wartime improvisations, there were, of course, problems. Due to the width of the hull, the 75mm main gun had to be mounted on the right side. This limited the gun to a relatively narrow traverse, of only 5 degrees to the left and 11 degrees to the right. Additionally, the extra weight on the right side put undue pressure on the suspension's leaf springs and made the vehicle's nose heavy, with the rear end sitting 7 centimeters higher than the front. As production continued, improvements were made, such as beefing up the leaf springs and drivetrain and reducing weight on the gun mantlet. Other modifications were added to ease manufacturing and maintenance, such as small hatches in the armor for the fuel, oil, and anti-freeze caps were also incorporated. Unfortunately, nothing could be done to make more room inside the small hull, and the crew had little space. The gunner, driver, and loader were all seated in a line on the left side of the hull. The commander was perched on the right near the rear, with the recoil guard of the main gun, but isolating him from the rest of the crew. Because the gun was mounted on the right, the loader had to feed it from the wrong side, as well as reach across the recoil path or the gunner to pull some of the stowed ammunition. The PaK-39 was in the heart of the whole system, and although only a 75mm, it was powerful enough to handle any Allied tank, with the exception of the Soviet heavies like the IS. 4 types of ammunition were carried, with a total of 41 rounds. The Panzergranate 40 high-velocity subcaliber tungsten core round was the best anti-tank shell, firing a 4.1 kilogram projectile at 930 meters per second. Striking at a 30-degree angle, this round could penetrate 120 millimeters of armor at 500 meters and 97 millimeters at 1,000 meters. However, the tungsten core Panzergranate 40 ammunition was often scarce in supply. The runner-up for anti-tank performance was the more plentiful Panzergranate 39 armor-piercing ballistic cap with explosive filler and tracer element, launching a heavier 6.8 kilogram projectile at a lower muzzle velocity of 750 meters per second. It could pierce 106 millimeters and 95 millimeters of armor at 500 and 1,000 meters respectively. The tank also had GR-38 HLC rounds, which was designed around the shape charge, heat, or high explosive anti-tank principle used in bazooka and Panzerfaust. However, it was actually much less effective against armor than the other 2 anti-tank rounds, as well as being much less accurate. The final round was high explosive ammunition. Ultimately, 2,800 Hetzers were created, and many different prototypes also existed. Flampanzer 38, which was a Hetzer fitted with a Kobe flamethrower in place of a main gun, and a Panzerjäger 38T MIT 77mm L70, which is a prototype experiment mounting the 7.5 centimeter KWK 42 L70 gun from the Panther III prototypes. Unfortunately, the long gun and extra weight caused even more problems with driving the Hetzer. Another variant was the Panzerjäger 38T MIT 105 Stuer 42/2 L28, a proposed version of the Jagdpanzer 38 Star armed with a 10.5 centimeter howitzer. Additionally, there was a G13 post-war version of the Hetzer built for Switzerland, armed with a Stuck 40 gun. Okay, so now let's commentate a little bit on this gameplay. We have here Spetsy 123 from the SFS clan in his tier 4 Hetzer here. He just finishes off the Matilda, the heavily armored British medium tank, but really kind of plays like a heavy on the enemy team, and finds himself winning this game 5-3. So far, he's done a great job with his 2 platoon mates. Unfortunately, his other platoon mate falls, and now he's searching for some shots on this P-43. that tier 5 Italian medium tank. You can see just how slow these heat rounds are, and as well as the HE rounds on this tank are, as the shell lobs all the way over and finishes off the Italian medium. He's now in a 2v1 against this Chinu Kai on the enemy team, who has 3 kills already, so definitely a dangerous player. Chinu Kai hasn't been spotted all game, so Spetsy is wondering about where he could be. He already explored the 1 line, so he knows that the Chinu Kai must be in the city somewhere. Counting down now. It's 4 minutes, 40 seconds. He's definitely going to have to get a move on here. The Stug 3 on his team decides that he wants to lure the Chinu Kai out, which is the smart decision, seeing as he doesn't really want to chase the Chinu Kai all the way around the map. Unfortunately, they don't do a good job of communicating together. So Spetsy is traveling south from the city because he thinks that the Chinu Kai probably pushed up with his allies. But I think the smarter move would have been to go north to defend with the Stug. Because they're in a 2v1, they have to use their numbers in advantage. So right now, whoever the Stug 3 spots, Spetsy won't have any shots on him. So he won't be able to support his Stug 3 friend. Spetsy's still moving here, is wondering maybe he's in one of these bushes over here. Shoots a shot in frustration, I guess. Might be going for that metal. I forgot what the name is, but destroying the last enemy tank with the final round in your gun. So there the Chinu Kai finishes off our Stug friend and doesn't even spot the Chinu Kai. So the only positions that he could probably do that are from these bushes up in near A2, or maybe from the city. So the town, maybe like B7 or A7, some of those bushes over there he could have worked. Counting down to 2.5 minutes. Spetsy's gonna need to be a little bit more aggressive this game, and if he wants to take out this Chinu Kai, I'm not sure if this Chinu Kai fancies moving forward and applying pressure. It seems like he hasn't been spotted all game. He seems to be one of the more passive players, electing to sit in bushes, which is, in certain cases, the smart move to do. Now the siren goes off for 2 minutes remaining. Spetsy's playing this like a Hetzer should, but unfortunately he doesn't have much time left on this game. Spetsy's thinking about going back to the city, since that's where he thinks that the Chinu Kai reset the Stug from. I like what he does here. I like that he goes to the middle of the map, seeing as that's where map control, you can spot through multiple flanks, as well as there's a lot of cover between all these buildings that he can poke around, see if he can apply his binos, spot anything, and then fall back. Counting down to 1 minute remaining. Spetsy may be feeling a little bit of pressure here as he looks around, trying to see if he can see where this Chinu Kai is. Spetsy looking up off to the left, seeing if he can spot him. And there he is. Spots him, applies auto aim, releases auto aim, and aims for the turret. Very lucky that heat round went through and didn't get absorbed by his gun or gun mantlet. Chinukai puts a APCR round or AP premium round into him, and Spetsy finishes him off. Great game. 20,000 W Nate. Let's take a look at the post-game stats here. Okay, here we are at the post-game stats. Let's see. Spetsy got an Ace Tanker badge. He also got a High Caliber and Top Gun. 2,300 experience. That's a great round there. 2,500 damage, 8 kills, and 1,075 base experience. Let's see. On the rest of his team, his 2 platoon mates, they should be thanking Spetsy for carrying them in this game. The Panzer SFL had a decent round, as well as this T-28. Yeah, the Chinukai with 4 kills, 1,600 damage, did really good on the enemy team as well. And shot 19 shots, 11 hits, and 10 penetrations. So very good marksmanship there on, or at least very good penetration on his HE and heat rounds that he carried. Decent amount from close quarters, as well as a decent amount from longer distance. He blocked 125, not that much. I feel like the armor in this tank in this game is hit or miss sometimes. Sometimes, especially with lower tier tanks, it's very effective, but especially with higher tiers, and as we saw with the armor layout, the side armor is very weak with this tank. And unfortunately lost credit since he fired all of his heat ammunition. He only had 1 round remaining in this tank. So, very good game by Spetsy. And I want to thank you guys for watching again. Question of the day is, what do you think about the Hetzer? And how do you think it is in the game? As well as, what do you think are some other really good tier 4 or low tier tanks that you guys play? My friends and I like playing the looks in a platoon together. It's really fun with that pop gun, especially with 3 of us in a platoon. So thanks again, and please like, comment, and subscribe. War Room out.
Arthur, get out of the tank.
You're not my dad.
Get out of the fucking tank. I am your dad.
You're not my dad.
I am your dad. Get out of the fucking
I'm in a tank
Hey.
and you're not.